Hello everyone and welcome back to Maths Mate. It's been such a long time since I've uploaded. It's been 5 months? Yeah, look, I'm sorry about that. It's just I've been busy with GCSEs and studying, and I think it's important because it's the start of a new academic term, and I think this topic that we're doing today, vectors, is a pretty important topic because in a GCSE exam, you're gonna get most likely you're gonna get a question on it.
Welcome to MathsMate, the best maths tutorial in town.
An education for a nation.
A cool type of school.
Sponsored by Tech Talk and Rhetorical Shift.
So what is a vector? A vector is a way to represent a movement between two places. We visualize vectors by using straight lines with arrows on. Vector A shows a small movement upwards. Vector B shows a large movement to the left. Notice that you can see it tells us the direction. We can also use translation vectors to describe the movement, so i.e. the vector 3, 4. The top number 3 represents the vector moving either left or right. Now if it's a negative, that means if it's moving left, and if it's right, it's positive. And it's the same with this one. This is the vector going up or down. Now if it's going down, it's negative, and if it's going up, it's positive. So remember that up is positive, right is positive, left is negative, and down is negative. So in this case we've got 0, 2. So it's 0 because it's not moving left or right, but it's going up, so it's going up 2 spaces. So let's move on to an example. So here we have A. Now we want to create a vector, don't we? So draw out the brackets. So remember the top one is going to be left or right, and the bottom one is going to be up or down. So the first thing that you have to do is move right. So we move 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and then we go 1, 2 up. So the vector A, and we all either draw a squiggly line under the A or an arrow, equals 4, 2. And now simply you can some people make the mistake of going up and then writing 2 over 4, but this is the correct notation because you always have to go either right or left first, and then you go either up or down. So let's go next. So this is a resultant vector, a single vector which is equivalent to a set of vectors. In other words, it's parallel. So to make sure to understand that a vector is parallel, it should have the same multiples. So you know how you can see two A's there. So that's just 1A, and that's 2A. And clearly, if there is a multiple in this one here, it shows that it's a parallel. But in this case, it's just double that. Let's move on to some examples. So to work out A, the first thing you do, so to work out A, we're going to go 2 to the right, so 1, 2, and then we're going to go up. So it's 2 to the right, and then we go 3 up, 1, 2, 3. So the notation is 2 over 3. However, we have another example here, B, that equals 1 to the left, which is -1, and then you go 2 up, and that's +2. So our notation is -1 over 2. And here for C, we go to the left first, remember, so it's 1, 2, 3, so it's -3, and then we go 2 down, 1, 2, which is -2. So with vectors, you're always trying to find the shortest path, and that's a key note there. You're always trying to find the shortest path by using different paths. You'll understand it when you do some questions. So here's one example of a GCSE question. So here you have PR, PQ, PN, and PM. Now, to find RQ, what you're going to have to do is do RP and then plus PQ. Because what we're trying to find is this line here. But the only way to do that is using the path RP and PQ. So, since RP is going the opposite way of U, that's going to be minus U plus, and PQ is positive 2V. So, therefore, RQ, in other words, is 2V minus U. Now you can write RQ in as minus U plus 2V. It doesn't really matter though. You can write it either way. So that's A, and that's right. Now Rn, so R to N, which is here. Now Rn, now this is going to be quite a long one. Rn equals a quarter of RQ. If you can see here, look, that bit is just a quarter, that is another quarter, and that is a half, because P is directly, it's not to scale, remember that, but that's supposed to be a straight line. So RQ is, so Rn is half of RQ, which equals half of 2V minus U, which equals a half of V and a minus half, sorry, a quarter of U. Now, I only got this 2V minus U because we already worked it out here, so we already know that RQ is 2V minus U. So we know we've got that right. Now, moving on to C, so this is B, and that's A. So moving on to C, though, is we're trying to find the vector Pn. And that line there is Pn. So what way can we find that? You can use PR plus Rn, which equals to U plus half of V minus a quarter of U, which equals to, so if I just star that and carry on here, which equals to 3/4 of U and then plus half of V. Yes, that's correct. Since we're looking at, so yeah, so sorry, that's a quarter of U. So since that's 1 U, you're going to have to use your fraction. So 1 take away a quarter is 3/4 of U, and then you have half of V. So that is basically it. And that's a short introduction to vectors. And trust me, they get a lot harder. I mean, you're going to have stuff like with hexagons and crazy things that you have to think really abstract. And piece of advice is that when you get to your maths exam, you're going to have to think abstractly, which is going to be quite difficult. I mean, with math, it's all about getting to a certain point, but you've now they're changing the system, so you're going to have to think more outside the box. And that is our lesson today, maths mates. Thank you for tuning in. And oh yeah, the learning curve is coming back on, so we're going to feature some more guests, believe it or not, and talk about more about what's happening on the news and politics and stuff like that. Anyway, see you around, guys. Bye.